Yeah, I know you've gotten a lot of good feedback from women, and I know your book kind of almost seems like interesting to women as well. Are you familiar
Yeah.
with Dr. Orion Taraban? Have you seen that guy?
Taraban. What has he written? Taraban. Oh wait, yeah. Orion yeah. He has the psych hacks. Isn't that
Psych
his
guy.
YouTube
Yeah,
channel?
Psych guy.
Yeah.
I have a friend that go has like a book club for one of his books, but I was watching one of his videos the other day, and it was really interesting because he was just like like I was still watching it and I was still like engaged in what he was saying, but he was like, "This one's for the ladies."
Yep. Yeah.
And he was
Yeah.
basically kind of saying like, I'm just shorthanding it real quick,
Mhm.
but he's kind of like, if you don't put out, like he's not going to stick around, kind of thing.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah,
really,
I've I noticed that about his videos. Yeah, he has very much ladies like you need to use sex as part of your part of what you have to offer. And it's like, yeah, I mean, okay, so when I've watched his videos, I actually watched in series a few of his videos of the night because I recently discovered him. And okay, there's an allure to it. There's a logic to it. I don't know that that speaks to the heart of a lot of women because I think one of the things that he's not speaking to, and I again like his videos, I'm sure one thing, and if you were to talk to him in person, and I haven't read any of his books, so maybe he covers this, but he doesn't speak at all about the fact that at least I haven't seen anything where there is a vulnerability that women have in sexuality that men don't. It's just built into it. Women are at a higher risk of STDs, STIs, higher risk if they get pregnant, the consequences that come out of that. It's the emotional attachment that's going to have with that child, the permanent physiological shifts that are going to happen in their body and after motherhood that will be one way and not before. None of this stuff talks about that. And while all of that might be more in a relationship and stuff, all of that is also a consequence of you having sex. I understand you can have safe sex, you can do all these things to actually prevent and protect yourself from these things, but on a deep instinctual level, like women are still going to feel that risk, that danger. They're still going to feel that when they're deciding or how comfortable are they and how ready they are to have sex with somebody. I don't see him speaking to that part of it. And I imagine if we were to have a discussion, he would have very intelligent things to say about it. But in his videos so far, I haven't seen him address that. So that part I feel is a little incomplete in the picture of giving advice to women because there's a part of them inside. Like in my book, safety first is part of it. If a woman doesn't feel safe, how the heck is she going to lead with sex? And she wants to attract this guy and she wants to like get his attention, and sex is a way to do it. Because again, these are his words, that this is part of the engagement. And it's like, well, if you're going to put out for a guy, put out for the guy that you really want to be with, that you really want the relationship with. There is a certain logic to that you do want to not make the guy you really like somehow leave him out in the cold. But for me, I make a distinction between being sexual and being sensual. So being sexual is, well, taking off your clothes, doing something with the arousal. But sensuality is totally different. And it's almost very hard to find, I think, in today's society, especially in the US. But sensuality, the way you hold a guy's hand, or the way you wrap yourself around his arm when you're out in public, or the way you're doing it, oh my God, like that can be so intoxicating for a man. And most of us as guys, like we hardly ever experience it. It's only once a woman is kind of like crazy in love that this incredibly sensual side comes out. I think that it's the sensual element, not the sexual element, that women should freely express towards the man that they really want to have the relationship with. That's what I think women should be leading with is more sensuality rather than sexuality.
yeah, because that's some kind of indication like, hey, I like you. That's step one to opening that other door. I think there's a lot of truth in what you said about women have more of a risk of like getting more attached to somebody when letting in that like sexual intimacy. Men don't really have as much intensity in that regard. But yeah, kind of speaking to what he was talking about in like, this is what men want. Men are interested in sex. Here's what you could offer. And then on the flip side of that, what a man offers, like to get what he wants, is
Mm-hmm.
some kind of emotional experience or like a relationship. And so I feel like for me personally, I feel like I've been pretty timid in that
Mm.
regard. I've had like a couple endeavors with dating and relationships like since being out of my undergrad, being out of school. And it's looked a lot different as an adult, like outside of that kind of institution where there are a lot of women readily
Yeah.
available around my age and we're doing similar activities. But I guess what I'm getting to here is I feel like I've been hesitant to be straightforward in the I like you department because I
Yeah.
almost think I have this fear that it almost would like scare them off or something.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Like when you express the fact that you like them, that that will be too much for them, overwhelm them. What?
Like I was telling you a little bit about this before, but there was this woman at the gym that I go to who I've
All right.
seen her there pretty frequently, and I haven't really had the courage to like go up to her until just the other day, just a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And it was a pleasant interaction. It was completely fine. I was fully confident in myself. I was interested in her. The impression I got is that she was interested in me, but I just got her name and then kind of wished her a good night.
So you
It
can
almost
do a
felt,
random search online in the hopes that she has a Facebook page by that name and try to, yeah, piece it all together. Maybe.
it just felt like too fast to be like, oh, hello, oh, this is your name, oh, can I get your contact information? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So like, can I just jump in on like, so it might have felt fast to you in the interaction you've been having with her, but that's all in what you choose to be open and transparent and disclose with her. If you're like, hey, actually, I've been wanting to talk to you for like months now, and I'm just so happy that I actually am getting the chance to talk with you now. You actually seem really friendly and nice. The minute you say that, and you say basically, I've had this anticipation. Women understand anticipation really well. Women enjoy and like anticipation. That's part of the romantic experience for women. The emotional piece that we were talking about. Anticipation is where a lot of that emotion takes place. If you're divulging to her that you've had this anticipation of talking to her and that you're happy now that you're doing it, she'll be able to automatically relate to that, and it won't seem like, oh, this just started. Well, I mean, in one sense, yeah, it is just starting, but at the same time, it's like, hey, and I've been wanting to talk to you. Everything's like, would you like to grab a drink sometime? Can I get your number? I think that seems really natural to a girl. And the other thing is to avoid the whole creepiness or whatever, transparency is what dispels creepiness. So like you right now, you talked to her, you got her name, and then you walked away, and she's probably in her mind going like, so does he like me? Is he social? Like what was the thing? But if you're like, hey, I've been doing this, and then you ask her, hey, would you like to grab coffee sometime? Can I get your number? Okay, so she's going to say yes or she's going to say no. Like it's going to be one way or another. But from your end, which is the only part you can control, you've completely opened the doors and the windows. She sees entirely into what your intentions are, and she can tell that it's not creepy. It's just interested. Interested isn't creepy. When interests are tucked away and not shown and then expressed in odd ways, like that's creepy. But if the interest is visible to the woman, then the creepiness just goes right out the window. And women really appreciate like knowing what it is that you're after. The trick is about being too much when you expressed interest is like you want to express your desire, but you don't want to put any expectations on her of what she's going to do with that desire. So if you're cool with her saying yes and you're cool with saying no, it's not a big deal one way or the other. That's what's not going to overwhelm her. That's what's going to make it so that she enjoyed it and she's like, great. Because women want to feel desired. Some of the female dating coaches I listen to, they're like, a guy has to show interest especially when you're on the date. You have to show interest. You have to show that you find them sexually attractive, that you're interested in progressing things and moving towards something. Women want to feel desired. That's part of the emotional experience they want to have, is that they are an object of desire. That's not objectification. That's an object of desire. Women want to feel that. Well, you express to her that you have desire for her, you're interested in her, and you're totally cool with whatever she decides to do with that desire.